types of, like because you have multiple environments, which Toland will probably talk a little bit about, making sure you have all those things in alignment before you actually start building. Make sure that you're, everybody always asks for activity or people utilizing things and everything. So before you get started and are asked, make sure you start utilizing the out-of-the-box activity logs and analytics. It'll help you along the process to identify what is being used, what's not, etc. We suggest building something called a center of excellence, or it could be a governance site, whatever your company chooses to call it. There are starter kits available that can provide a collection of templatized best practices already, and then you can utilize those to start building upon. You also have options, especially with the modern. You can build some automation around your governance for auditing every year, etc. And probably one of my favorite things is making sure that you're identifying makers and champions within your organization. We're going to tell you a little bit about what types of people they are, but those are the things that you want to make sure that you're getting done in the ground floor, because they're going to be a huge advocate for you.
Yeah, so real quick, we're going to talk about some Power Apps pitfalls. As you're transitioning from your form intake and your flow processes from 2010, maybe it be InfoPath for forms or SharePoint workflow, or excuse me, SharePoint forms in 2010 workflow. As that transitions to the Power Platform, there's some pitfalls that you really want to kind of pay attention to. Promotion and lifecycle of the app is a very key problem in your ongoing tenant lifecycle. So make sure that you're setting up the environments on your Power Platform environments so that you've got a development environment and not a separate tenant, but not necessarily a separate tenant, but as you're building your Power Platform components, be it Power Automate, Power Apps, Power BI, build those. Do yourself a favor and build those in Power Platform environments so that you can promote them and lifecycle those applications. It's real easy to get in the pattern of take SharePoint list and click the easy button, or pop onto the apps, make.powerapps.com and go through that process without solutions or environments. So pay attention to those usage patterns. Pay attention to your browser types in your environment and the consumption devices. So if you're an Android or iOS, if you're Chrome browser, Safari browser, while the platform is built to be the Microsoft's delivery platform is built to be platform agnostic on the consumption side, there are still some things in styles or JavaScript components that may bite you. So pay attention to your clients. Bottlenecks and data sources, that tends to be a problem with particularly on-prem data sources. Power of the cloud is at the mercy of the speed of the cloud and connections to other sales or other endpoints. But if you're using on-prem data sources through the data gateway, be cognizant of where geographically you put the location of the data gateway and how far away, how many hops away that is from the data itself. And then if you've got really large volumes of data and you're traversing that data a lot, you may impact the tenant throttling capabilities. So you may get throttled down on your whole tenant, depending on how chatty you get. So definitely pay attention to the common MVVM models that, as a developer, we all had to get used to. So that means model your view your model, trim it down to only the data that you need. As we talk through some strategies, right? So 2010 platform to beyond, if you're already on your tenant and you're using 2010 workflows, you've probably gotten an extension from Microsoft to do that. Since the 2010 workflows have been shut down, identification of those 2010 workflows is a common pain point, and your best tool, the best friend that you have is the SharePoint Modernization Scanner, SPMS. So grab that modernization scanner, run that thing to get a full list of where all those 2010 workflows live, and how you can start approaching that inventory with your business. And then work with your SMEs, right? So the people that built the workflows, if they're still around, granted that was a long time ago, but if those SMEs are still around or people that support them, work with them and get into working sessions with them so that you can show and tell where the new components are going to replace the old components, and help them start thinking about the new patterns and practices with the Power Platform. look through to provide a demo of the 365 features repeatedly with those SMEs so that they understand the breadth of how vast the new Power Platform, specifically Power Automate's replacement strategy is for 2010 workflow. They were very limited before. And then work with your business users in some use case sessions so you can show and tell where and how people are going to use those, actually implement or trigger the flows, Power Automate, and or other automation strategies. If you're building a forms replacement with your Power, as we're gonna demo here, if you're building Power Apps to replace another form intake solution, use those sessions to demo that from a usage perspective as well. Provide yourself plenty of time for testing, and definitely provide training to your admins, your end users, your Power users. Those are the folks that you want to make your makers and champions. Those are the people you want to deeply engage with, as they're going to be your best friends.
Yeah. So these type of people they have an interest in the Power Platform, in the strategies, making things better. If they're that type of person, they're going to be people that are going to evangelize to your organization about the technology and the changes that you're trying to make. These are the people that are going to be like, one, you want to find these people and you're going to love these people, but what you will find out is you'll have to learn how to help them prioritize what types of new things and exciting things you have to do in order by priority. They will have leadership qualities. They will carry influence, and they are diligent in their work efforts, meaning they're going to go out there and they're trying to learn as much as possible so they can go out there and share the technology because they want to do more and more. But like I said, you also have to kind of tame them down because there's only so many people in any IT department, and you'll have to be able to handle that workload that will come in.
So here in this case study, to kind of walk you through what we were building, we were engaged with Microsoft to build a class registration process. And the idea behind that is, internally for an organization, the notion was that they had a course catalog they were building. The course catalog was managed and maintained by one team of curriculum management. They wanted to list off in a calendar fashion, show me all of the courses that I may have available or things that I'm going to build and provide to my internal employees, and they can go and register. So we actually ended up building two forms, but the one we're going to demo today was the registration form. It was the more complex one. And this is kind of the flow on the left-hand side. You can see in their existing classroom registration process flow, it had a lot of parallel tracks that were not in the automated system. They were not built into the platform. So where we have these dotted lines, these are people running off to the sidelines and with paper to say, hey, can you sign off on this? Or hey, can I use this thing to manage the process flow as it's going? And as we discuss the process with the business and capture it into this drawing, this is where we identified you can pull those back in, right? Those are areas where we can pull that information right back into the platform and highlight those in these dotted lines. As you can see here, it's very serial fashion. There was no looping, there was no feedback, no tracking of what was the student's progress, what was the employee's progress as they've attended maybe one or more than one of these sessions and registered from a beginner to an intermediate to an experienced course material. There was no feedback loop in this source process. So again, you're talking with the business, that's areas of improvement that are really easy changes to do inside of your Power Automate or Power Apps form intake solution and Power Automate data repetition or automation solution. So we did that. So we built in some lifecycle here where we track not only the user's progress, the registration on, and we keep that history in the SharePoint backend of what classes they've registered for in the past and attended and completed. And then that provides feedback for notifications, for further information on, hey, there's a more advanced class coming up that's on that same topic. How about we pull you back in and do a registration with you. So definitely the point on this slide is look to not only do process optimization as you're going through and having that discussion with the business, but also look at the expansive capabilities of that Power Automate platform. As you're replacing a 2010 workflow, you don't have to be top to bottom vertical. Now you have some looping or some branching capabilities that you never had before.
Yeah, the more important thing around showing what they have had and what they have now is most of the time you'll find out when you get into a project like that, what they have now they don't like. They find it cumbersome, they find it difficult, it doesn't work. So you do not want to pick up exactly what they have and duplicate it, because then the only thing that you're doing is frustrating them that they went to a new technology but they got the same exact problems. You lose your user adoption engagement in these types of scenarios, so you have to try to fix some of these issues as you go along. That way you can increase your user adoption throughout the processes.
Yeah, so our solution as a whole branched between SharePoint as a data backend. We leveraged Power Automate for the workflow replacement piece. We're going to look at that here. And then we also leveraged Power Apps as a form intake piece. And the Power Apps actually was the final destination after the client that we had done this case study with, after they had gone through several iterations of upgrading that form. So let's look at the workflow first, right? So classic SharePoint Designer workflow. On the left-hand side here, we have our 2010 workflow interface, where we captured, again, top to bottom, totally serial. There were no looping capabilities or feedback capabilities, and really cumbersome to read, really cumbersome to use. It required you to have a special design tool. Right now, again, Power Automate on the right-hand side, it does still read a little bit vertical in this graphic, but as you go through conditions, buried in the conditions here, we're trying to save some space, but within your conditions on an if-else or a multi-checkbox, you can, you've got now while looping where you can wait for triggers to happen. You can do approval. We do in this condition, we do some approval, we do some notifications, we do some additional branching logic where it gets pretty complex, but biggest benefits here are the client can use this on any browser. They can go to any platform. They can use it from anywhere, authenticate in their browser, and off they're running in Power Automate. And then again, you know, so no dependency on a specialized tool, close to retirement tool. But then again, you know, it's the platform itself has much more capability in the logical and automation components that it can do. So then we talked to the form. So the form itself, it went through, like I said, several iterations in the lifecycle for this specific client. The initial one here was obviously HTML form on the far left. This is a classic HTML form that they had leveraged, which would just send broadcast emails. So somebody would say, hey, I want to attend this class, here you go. And the form itself was hard coded to just send a broadcast email to the class or course curriculum managers, and they would then manual process that we saw on the left-hand side before. That manual process was then a lot of facilitation of them back and forth into systems doing things as humans do, fat fingering, you know, manual manipulation of registrations and tracking student or employee curriculum progress. Then eventually that evolved into a quick SharePoint form, but wasn't really delivering what they wanted. They didn't have a whole lot of customizations in here. And again, becoming from, you know, classic look and feel in the SharePoint lists, it just didn't deliver what they really wanted. So as we step into the easy button, they had explored with on their own. The makers and the champions had gone out as power users do and started exploring new technologies, and they click the easy button, right? So from a SharePoint list, you can go up and customize this form with Power Apps, and it kicks out this awesome, on the left, you can see the top to bottom vertical form that is great for mobile devices. It's great for, you know, rapid development or rapid replacement, and some pseudo customization where they engaged with this case study to really do a deeper dive in the usage of the tool. They found that more of their users used it in a browser. Not a lot of them were using it on vertical devices. So they were, you know, not so bound to cell phones or vertical browsers. They really wanted a horizontal landscape and leaned into leveraging, you know, a better fit for their resolution, screen resolution, and field layouts. So they leaned into the Canvas app model where this particular solution came together. It didn't require multi-paging, but we did include, because of the power of Power Apps, we're able to include several things here from all the way down from the component library pieces where we're bringing in consistent heading, theming, heading, branding components, consistent color schemes for the buttons, bringing in consistent form layout and field integration back and forth to the other fields here. So the component library is a big help with that. And we coached in this, along with this case study, we coached again to leverage the solutions environments, solutions and environments in the Power Platform so that the application lifecycle is a little bit easier for handoff from a development mode into a UAT mode into a production mode. These Power Platform environments are really helpful for that, and solutions is a great way to wrap up everything that you've got within that environment, from your Power Automate flows, your Power Apps, and any component libraries that you're pulling in pieces from for standardization. The key there was standardization. By building those reusable components, they could then leverage this on numerous applications. So Stacy, want to talk through some risks and obstacles we faced?
Yeah, when I come off mute, So some risks and obstacles that we have ran into, we've done these types of projects a number of times, and things that, we always we have to push back on. We run into a lot of risks and obstacles when we're not getting the requirements that we need. We don't have the right people involved. A lot of times you will get into a meeting with IT and they tell us how the process works, but it's not an IT process, it's a marketing process. So we're not actually getting it from the right people at times. So you need to ensure that you get the right people so you're getting the right requirements. It'll save time, it'll save rework, and of course, keeps the user adoption high and not low. Lack of collaboration. Some people just don't like change, right? We all know that. You have to find ways to get everybody involved, show them the impacts, the return on their investment, that type of scenario to get them on board so that you're getting everything that you need. You're getting the support that you need to get the project done accordingly. Make sure not only are they setting feasible timelines, but you are as well. Some companies and people within different departments, they work differently than we do. Some people work at the speed of light, and some people like, hey, I don't like to rush. I want to take it very slow to make sure things are right. But when those types of people work together, you got to come to an agreement and make sure that it's feasible for everybody, that you're meeting the due dates and meeting your timelines so they're not ever changing, but only going at the speed of success, not the speed of getting it done. Overlooking or eliminating conversations with the business users. As much as you can get other people involved, do it. Even if, say, you've got like the head of marketing in a meeting and they're going through the process, the question I always like to ask, are you the one that always uses it from, step 1 to step 10? Oh, no, at this point, this person does this, and at this point, I want to see all those people. I want all of their feedbacks because all of them probably have an obstacle or an issue in their process, or they can describe a way like, hey, it would be nice if we could do this because that would save steps 4 and 5. You want the feedback from as many people that are utilizing the process as possible. When you do that, also when you go to change and tell them here's something new, they're like, oh, great, I gave feedback on this. I helped make it better. And they tend to get more involved and, feel like they want to bring it to success and share what they did and what they were a part of. And again, user adoption just shoots through the roof.
Yeah, awesome. User adoption is key. All right, so in our last few minutes here, I'm going to pop over and we will do a demo. So let me stop my sharing and we'll fly back over to Teams and share up the app. Stop this one, share this one. I apologize for any background noise if anybody's catching that. There's quite a lot going on here with the construction crew. Okay, it says it's trying to share.
It's blinking. It really wants to do it.
You can do it. Says it's going. Power of the cloud, friends. Power of the cloud. Right. Oh, my edge says it's going to crash. Don't crash. I will wait. Don't crash. All right, well, it says no. Let it, we'll just let it crash. Do this. If I exit this page, it's going to kick me out of everything, isn't it? Go Edge. All right, I'm going to roll the dice. Refresh the page. Can you do it? Power apps. Okay. Do you all see my screen now? It says that it's sharing.
Not yet.
Now Teams isn't responding. That's awesome. All right, let's. I'm gonna do this, and I'll see if I can share from here. Big gamble. Big gamble. Let's try this one.
Hey, you're sharing. There you go.
Yay! Okay. All right. So we're gonna go into the apps, and I want the class registration one. Go in here. Close this. Move my microphone out of the way. All right, so as that one's going through, what we want to do is I'm going to push this into edit mode, and let that one close. As we push this into edit mode, we're going to go and look at some of the component pieces that we've brought in. So again, remember using solutions to wrap up your Power App, your contextual related Power Automates, your forms, your data, pull all that stuff together in solutions as much as you can, and need to authenticate. That's new. Edge totally kicked me out. Come on, demo gods. You can do it. Awesome. This is running in Azure. Go cloud. Yeah. All right. Well, so to summarize, as this is doing its thinking here, so use those solutions. Definitely use the environments. Again, I can't stress that enough. Get used to, or get your business used to, leveraging the power of the environment so that you got some application lifecycle. It's all too easy for your makers to pop out there and just say, make me a new app, right? Or click the easy button on SharePoint list. One thing you want to keep in mind, easy button on SharePoint list is not migratable. It's really, really difficult to get those out at all and reuse them. If you're going to go into the Canvas app, if you want, especially if you want reuse model, or you want to, or hook it up to data models, that your best bet is to leverage your solutions and leverage those environments. Exit this little page. It'll come back. We'll see. We'll click the exit. Don't crash. And so as I'm going through and continue with this idea or thought process, the lanes that are for your software development lifecycle will also have impacts to data loss prevention, any of the security and compliance controls that you want to apply on your data. If you do need to get into, say Dataverse for Teams, it makes it a lot more portable if you're leveraging those environments and the solutions stack. You can easily tear those out, using the environment variables and making them really flexible so that you can portably plug those into the areas that you need them, be it in SharePoint or in Power Apps, or in Teams, wherever you want to nest those things. It looks like this is totally dying and not going to cooperate at all. So I think we're toast. Let me close this again.
At any time, if anybody would love to see the demo, you can reach out and we can plan a time to actually show you some of the stuff that we did around this. We'd be glad to do so because I know we're short on time because we only have a half hour.
Yeah. Yeah. I was hoping to pull the slides back up too. Stacy, if you can take over share, do you have the slides? Maybe we can share that thank you page. If there are, any questions or comments, or if you'd like to see the demo live, you feel free to reach out.
I do not have it. My PowerPoint just froze. So we're having a great time being connected to the cloud today. Yay, and I got another session coming up. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys very much. If you guys have any questions, like we said, feel free to reach out. The white paper is published. It is out there. AvePoint has it. Microsoft has it. I think we have it published out there a number of different places. Feel free to check it out. If you have any questions, just reach out.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be taking a brief 30-minute break in this track.